back to another edition of the Prepper Recon podcast. Our mission is to bring you great interviews with preppers from around the world so you can be better informed and better prepared for everything from a hurricane to the end of the world as we know it. This episode is brought to you by CampingSurvival.com. Whether your plan is to bug out or bug in, CampingSurvival.com has all of your preparedness needs, including bug-out bags, long-term storage food, water filters, gas masks, and first aid kits. Check them out online today at CampingSurvival.com. Be sure to enter coupon code PrepperRecon for a 5% discount on your entire order. Today's guest is Josiah Wallingford of BrinkofFreedom.net. Josiah, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So what first woke you up to the need to prepare?
It all started when I was in Afghanistan, probably just seeing the way that people lived there and you know, the missions we were doing, really got me thinking about making sure that I didn't have to go through something like that in my lifetime. And then when I got back from Afghanistan, so that was in my head, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, I gotta do something about money to get some more income just to make sure we're a little more stable. And I was talking to one of my friends that I work with about it, just about doing those kind of things, ways to save money and what I should do. And he's like, you have got to listen to this guy. And he turned me on to Jack Spirko. And I listened to about 3 episodes of that, and I was just hooked. And that's really how I got into it.
Very cool. So you were in the military in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I was Army. I was a cavalry scout.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your service to our country. Everybody really appreciates that. And now tell us a little bit more about your new website, BrinkofFreedom.net.
Sure. So Brink of Freedom is there's 2 parts to it, and then we're actually in the process of combining them into one. But the 2 main parts of it is the first, which is a magazine, basically, and we've combined a great deal of awesome authors, and they're writing articles about various subjects in the prepping mindset. And then the second part is the social network side, which is basically a community area for preppers to go and talk to each other and form groups and such.
Very cool. What inspired you to start Brink of Freedom?
So I had to come up with a way to do articles. I wanted to do an article at least once a week about the internship, which I'm doing now with Jack Spirko. And so I started formulating a website for it, and I said, you know what? And getting ideas. I'm going to different people's blogs and reading their stuff and just seeing how they're formatting it. I'm like, man, I'm sick of going to all these websites to get all this great content. It'd be awesome if there was one place where I could get all these writers together. They could submit articles, and it feeds back to their site to drive more traffic for them. But it really gives people a one-stop shop for people to read some great articles.
Yeah, it is. It's a really, really great idea. It's a really great website. You've got all kinds of different writers, and most of them are from the survival podcast community, and they've got a wide variety of expertise from different areas. About how many writers are there, and what different categories do they fall into?
Sure, there's 16 columnists and 20 contributors so far. The 16 columnists do an article once a week. And it's up to them what day it's published. It's just once a week. And then the contributors do 2 a month. So every other week, basically, for a contributor. And there's such a wide variety of topics they cover, from tactical training and firearms, permaculture, just off-grid living, alternative energies, saving money, politics, world economics. There's just tons of different categories.
Yeah, it's great because a lot of bloggers like myself, we try to be jack of all trades, but you just can't cover everything. You don't have the expertise in everything. My degree is in accounting, and for a little shameless plug here, I'm one of the columnists for Brink of Freedom, and my column is Prepper Econ, so it's kind of like Prepper Recon. It kind of rhymes, but it focuses on economics and personal finance. So, now, are there any categories that have more writers than others?
The ones with the most writers are the homesteading and the firearms and tactical categories. They dominate the most, but we have writers in every category. What we're working on getting is more writers in the health and wellness and medical categories.
Cool. So if there's somebody out there that has that type of expertise, they could send you a sample of their writing and be considered for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Through brinkofreedom.net, there's a contact us, and in there's a write for Brink of Freedom option, and in there you can tell us a little bit about yourself, give us 2 sample articles that you've written, and really you can request to be a columnist, contributor, or just do one-off articles if you just want to do one.
And tell us a little bit about the Brink of Freedom community.
Sure. So the Brink of Freedom community it's really a play. I hate Facebook so much that it seems like people are really limited on what they'll talk about. Some are outgoing and will talk about whatever, but a lot of people don't want to share that kind of thing, the prepping kind of thing on Facebook with anybody to come look at, with their family coming to see that, as you know, they want to keep their social life separate from their prepper life.
Yeah, that's true. And then we've also had kind of I think a chilling effect, particularly for Facebook, because of the recent Edward Snowden's information about the NSA PRISM program logging Facebook posts.
Yep.
And you know, we've heard some things from Homeland Security that would target anybody that has more than 30 days worth of food, or buys certain types of ammunition, or votes for third-party candidates, and there's a lot of things that they consider disobedient or dissident that people aren't they're not real excited about sharing their views, particularly on Facebook. And I think maybe Brink of Freedom, maybe at least not yet, it's not being targeted by NSA, or at least probably won't do it willingly.
Yeah, well, I think everything's targeted by NSA now.
Yeah, I think so.
There's no getting around it. I mean, the only way to get around it is insane encryption, which would just be a pain in the butt for them, really, more than anything. But even that, you know, it's just there's no more free internet.
No, if you're not on a watch list by now, then you're not doing your job. You're not a patriot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And do you think it would be possible in the future that Facebook themselves could decide to censor liberty-minded discussions?
You know what? I give that question a lot of thought, because what I think Facebook wouldn't do it, and the government wouldn't want them to do it, because they're gonna want. When you look at these tracking programs, they want people to go to these like Facebook and these major sources and just publish whatever they feel like publishing. I mean, we see so many stories in the news of a kid publishing something on Facebook and then getting arrested, or some guy has a picture of his kid and it's taking a leak in the lawn or whatever, and then gets a fine. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, but people with our mindset posting on Facebook, I think they like it. It's easy to target people. You definitely don't want them to feel uncomfortable about doing it, or as little as possible, you know. So no, I don't think Facebook's going to discourage it. If anything, I would hope that Facebook would look at putting in security measures so that the government won't do it. But I also think Facebook's pretty government friendly.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. That's if they can get all the information. If we'll volunteer it on Facebook, then that saves them money on drones and
absolutely
other spy techniques that they would have to expend resources
on. Well, just
on.
facial recognition is great for that for them. I mean, you look at the new product Google Glasses Google's working on. It's just glasses you wear and you walk around, and it's constantly looking at everybody you see and putting a little square goes around their face and shows you, hey, he's on Google Plus and Facebook, and this is his profile. It's just amazing what they're doing now, but it's scary stuff.
They're going to get the entire American public to volunteer to be human drones.
Yeah, you're volunteering yourself for it.
It's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But now it has some similarities to Facebook, the Brink of Freedom community.
Yeah, some of the actions you can do and the way you kind of work with the site, it's the similarities are with the wall. So whenever you post something, it posts on your wall as well as the community wall so that everybody can see any posts on there. And then you have your own wall, of course. And then you can have pictures and your location if you're interested in putting your location up. But that's kind of where it ends. The rest of it is the groups is the biggest part. The coolest part I think about it. Some similarities, but definitely not the same.
Very cool. And then you were mentioning that you just started an internship with Jack Spirko at the Survival Podcast. What was your prepping background before that?
Well, if I was on Doomsday Preppers, I'd probably get a 2 out of 5 stars.
Everybody gets a 2 out of 5 stars. The guy that's running around in Hawaii barefoot with a stick gets 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah. And the guy with the underground bunker with a nuclear reactor to generate his own electricity and 25 years worth of food gets 2 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, and
they all get the same rating, right?
Yeah, and a big thing about prepping is your mindset and making sure you have the right mindset. It can take some time to ensure you're thinking correctly in order to be successful in the preparedness lifestyle. I mean, making sure you're thinking correctly about what you want to do and where you're going, and making sure that is what you want. Making sure you're debt free, and all those things take time. And so for me, it's been a slow build up, but we're doing pretty good. I mean, we got a bunch of chickens that we got stored gasoline. We do things that are definitely prepper related, but it really took me making sure I was in the right mindset, thinking correctly and clearly about what I needed before I just went out and bought a bunch of gadgets and said I was prepping.
Yeah. It's your brain's your number one survival tool, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And what have you been doing with Jack?
We've been focusing a lot on Brink of Freedom. He's been teaching me a ton about the marketing side of it and just making sure it's done properly, that nobody's going to get not in trouble, just screwed over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. So we've been doing a lot with that, and then of course we've been doing a lot of projects around the homestead here, and just ramping up for the workshops coming up. He's doing quite a bit of workshops, so that's pretty much what we're doing. Cooking a lot of great food.
Yeah.
We do the paleo. I was on the paleo diet before I came here.
Yeah.
But not as strict. But here it's all paleo. Jack cooks every day, and it's just great food all the time.
That's awesome. So you were telling me a little bit in the pre-call that you guys were putting in some kind of pond.
Yeah, so it's basically it's for an aquaponics system. We put up in a giant water catchment tank, and we're putting in gutters off the roofs to go into that water catchment tank, and those feed into 5 other tanks. And these are smaller tanks. They're basically water troughs. You go at Tractor Supply or Murdoch's or whatever you got and buy these, and we've created ponds, and they all connect to each other. So water's always flowing out of one until it gets to the end, and then a pump takes the water back to the beginning, and it's just constantly cycling. We have different plants in the different ponds, different fish in the different ponds. So that's been a really cool system to work on.
Very cool. What kind of fish are in there?
Bluegills and goldfish right now. We're just starting the system, so we want to start with those kind of fish. It was also a good test to make sure they could survive in the environment we set up for them. But they're really cleaning up the system for us until we decide to start putting freshwater shrimp and other things in there.
Oh, very cool. Now, are these just little bitty goldfish, or are these the ones that are going to get to be like the big Japanese koi?
They're just pet store goldfish. We went to the pet store and got them. I don't know how big they're going to get, but it doesn't really matter. It's just more compost the bigger they get.
Right. Now, do the bluegills eat the goldfish?
No, they haven't, but they're smaller than the goldfish right now. They're just minnows. We went to a local pond and netted a bunch of them. We do have 2 bigger bluegills, but they're in the upper tank separate from the minnows, so they're not eating each other. We actually set up a bug zapper over their tank and it turns on only at night, and that feeds them. It's been great.
And so they zap, and then the carcass falls in the water, and they eat it.
Yep.
Oh, that's smart. And what about gardening? You guys, you said something about expanding the garden?
Yeah, well, what we're doing is we're expanding the paths for the garden. So basically what we're doing is we've gone through and taken all the soil off the top of where the paths are, laid a bunch of super wet cardboard down, and then on top of that put mulch. And that actually does two things for us. It creates a swale for the system because it's all in contour. The beds are on contour, so the path follows that contour, and that creates the swale for it. And then the cardboard basically kills anything from growing, so you're not going to get anything in your paths until something falls in there and grows on its own. But that's a lot slower than all the weeds you'd get normally.
Very cool. And what type of animals do you have on the farm right now?
So here at Jack's we got chickens, tons of chickens. We have meat chickens and egg chickens, 4 different types. The meat chickens we just got, actually they're 2 weeks old now. They're hurting in the sun, but we're doing a pretty good job of keeping them cool. We got ice blocks out there for them and a fan running in shade, and they're on a big tractor and we're moving them, so they're as happy as they could be. And then we also have geese here, and of course dogs.
Cool. And then for the new listeners out there that don't know what a chicken tractor is, it's not a chicken driving around in a tractor, because that's what I first thought the first time I heard it. It's just any type of box that you can move around that keep them from destroying any one part of the yard all at once.
Well, it's more than that too.
And then they're also fertilizing wherever they're at as well.
Exactly. Yeah, they go in and they just scratch everything up, and they're pooping in there and really fertilizing the ground. It's a great system.
Yeah, but if they stay in the same place, the fertilization will never really have any effect, because they'll be eating anything that comes up.
They'll destroy the ground, and they just take everything out of it.
Yeah, so moving them around, that's a really, really great way to do that. And what else? Is he doing any fruit trees or anything like that? Yeah,
he's got a peach tree out here, but that's the only fruit tree I've seen. He just moved in here a year ago, so and he's a little cautious about doing anything because Jeff Lawton's coming for a workshop, and he's going to be designing the entire property, or around the property, the perimeter around it, and so that's going to be some major overhauls, and that'll be really cool.
Yeah, it will be. Maybe we'll have to get you back on after that to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure that's going to be cool. And that's when he's going to put in his fedge.
Yeah.
Which, for people that don't know the term, it's a food producing hedge.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of fedge he's gonna put in?
I have no idea, and really, it's going to be a collaboration between him and Jeff on deciding what's going to be best for the. And he really doesn't even know yet until he sees what Jeff's going to want to do to the property. So, and we're also doing there's a workshop coming up for the herb garden, and it's not just an herb garden; it's a big herb garden, and that's your zone 1 garden. I don't know if you're familiar with permaculture, but it's, you have different zones in permaculture. Zone 1 being what's closest to you and most accessible. So that's where your herb garden's going to be, where you just go out when you're cooking, you grab some herbs to throw in the food, and that's it. And so, it's actually a fairly large, I'd say probably 100 by 200 foot at least, which is huge for an herb garden.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And so they're coming in to design that, and it's going to be incorporated into what Jeff's doing, and it's also going to be incorporated with the aquaponics system that's going in. So just some really cool things going on.
And how many acres are you guys on?
I think he's got, I want to say 3 to 5. It might be 3.
Oh, that's good. If you're using all of that to produce, you can produce an awful lot of food.
Oh yeah,
3 to 5 acres for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than you think, especially out here with because we're not surrounded by forest. Like in Montana, I'm always around forest, so property seems much smaller. But But here it's pretty open, and of course that'll be changing once the fedges are up and the ponds are all put in. But it's pretty open except for the back, and the back's all forestation. That's why I'm not sure about the acreage, but I'm pretty sure he's on 3, and then the forest behind him is someone else's. But there's a lot to the side of us and a lot behind us that he's trying to purchase to increase the size of his property. So that'll be just more workshops and more fun.
Awesome. And tell us some of the cool people that you've met as a result of your internship.
Really, it's been all the writers that have joined as Brink of Freedom authors. I mean, we got Angry American, Dave Wendell, Jason Akers, the Christopher Nigers. It goes on and on. We have a ton of awesome authors. It's been a real pleasure meeting all of them and having them write for Brink and seeing what they're producing.
And of course, we'll have a link to brinkoffreedom.net, but just for the folks who are listening to us on Stitcher, iTunes, or watching the YouTube podcast, tell them where they can find the website and what other ways they can connect with you.
Sure. Brinkoffreedom.net. Just the way it sounds, brinkoffreedom.net. And then through there you can find the community site, or you can just go to community.brinkoffreedom.net. And then while you're on there, you'll see links to all our Facebook, our Twitter, or all the social networks, the YouTube channel, and things like that. And yeah, please come on by and join us.
Josiah, thanks again so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
An economic storm is headed our way. The die has been cast. We must spread the word and prepare. The coming collapse will bring a contest between tyranny and freedom. If the patriot is to prevail, we must stand as one, pledge allegiance to our God, and defend the Constitution. If you are new to prepping or would like to learn more, read our 7-step survival plan. You can find it under categories on the left-hand side of our website. Thanks for listening to the Prepper Recon podcast. God bless, and happy prepping.